Hey, Pashi. Hey, Sufi. How are you? I'm good. I'm really excited because this weekend, as we record this, I'm going to fly home on Saturday night so I can see Mom for Mother's Day on Sunday. Huh? What? Nothing. I don't know why you sort of put all this effort into going to see Mom. What? Yeah, I don't know. I just think she can just be a lot. I don't know that that's true. I think she's great, and it's Mother's Day, so I want to see her. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's more of a you thing. No, this is so weird, Sufi. This doesn't even sound like you. Well, that's because it's not me, Pashi. What do you mean? I wasn't able to do an intro, so you're just pretending to be me and trying to make people think that I'm a terrible person. Well, that's what you get when you don't show up to do an intro and I have to do one alone, is I can make you look like just a bad, terrible person, which of course I know you're not. Hey, everybody, it's just Pashi here because Sufi couldn't make it. He's a very busy person. And actually, as we speak, my parents are visiting with him, and he will be with our mother for the beginning of Mother's Day. And then our mom and dad are going to drive up to New Hampshire, and I will be there to greet them. So I'm sure we will have some great stories to share with you about these family trips in our next intro. And on today's show, we have a mother as well, Annaleigh Ashford, just a fabulous actress known on Broadway and beyond. She is in the new series Happy Face, and she is a delight. And please enjoy. And Sufi will be back with me, I hope, next time we record one of these.
Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Here we go.
Hello.
Yeah. Look at your podcast rooms.
Are you making something? Are you? It looks like you might be doing some crochet work or something.
I wish, because that would mean I could crochet. I would be making little pot holders.
Oh my God. Isn't that the dream?
Yes. Too, did you guys have people in your life who crocheted? They make those creepy dolls where they bought a doll head from the craft store and then the rest of it was crocheted?
No.
We did.
I have received some crochet gifts from fans, and I immediately send that to security. I feel as though someone who sends a crochet doll is just asking to be put on a list.
Of you with a weird doll head?
It was not the doll head. I think I would just never come to the office again.
Well, you did do the show out of an attic for a while, and maybe
that's true. That was a real doll head era of the show. But you did. I will say you had a really nice. I felt as though it was almost like we discovered you when you came on the Zoom. You were elsewhere, and it was like one of those. I don't know. It was like one of those shows that began with someone being like, "Oh, hello."
Do you know what I just realized? This is my nursing pillow.
Oh.
I forgot to take that out of the shot.
Are you you're still in the nurse zone right now, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of now primarily pumping.
Yeah.
Like this morning, she was, we were waiting for the bottle to warm up of breast milk, and I had my little pump pieces out, and she looked at me like, why not the boob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and popped her on, And my little boy, though, I could never nurse him. He had such bad reflux. So I just always pumped and then gave him a bottle. So this feels like a whole new world to me. She can nurse and also look at me and laugh and, pinch me. And so.
I think because my wife likes our daughter so much more than she ever liked the boys, there was a real long nurse. I at one point had her, hey, I feel as though we maybe, I don't know, have entered.
I feel like that's happening right now. I'm like, how long are we going to do this for? I could keep going. You want to keep going? All right, girl, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like she wants to keep going. She doesn't want those parts and pieces that you have to put together.
Yeah.
It just
Such
doesn't
a pain in
feel,
the ass.
doesn't have the same
Yeah,
air
washing all
of-
that stuff.
Yeah.
It's the difference between a home cooked meal and we're going to get delivery, you know? She's like, whoa,
I mean, it's
whoa,
made in
whoa.
the same kitchen, but it's like, you know,
It's just not the same when you
it's like,
reheat
it doesn't travel well.
No, it doesn't travel well. The to-go box is like not the same.
Mom, you know how to make a taco bowl. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, everybody likes cold pizza.
So you grew up in Denver, Colorado.
Yes, I did.
3 siblings, correct?
Me and my brother and sister. So
Okay,
there's 3 of us.
total.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
where do you fall in the birth order?
I'm the oldest by 8 and 10 years, which is a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how does that go down?
You know, I'm watching it play out because my little boy is 8 years older than my little girl.
Mhm.
My brother is 8 years younger. My sister is 10 years younger. So when my brother was born, you know, leading up to his birth, I was like, this is terrible. This is not going to end well for me. You know, horrified because you're the only child and then you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then-
you were the only child for a long time.
For a long, long time. How far apart are you guys?
2 years.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So I remember at the hospital while he was being born, get ready for this. He is born on June 24th and I was born on June 25th. So there was this like race to the clock.
Yeah.
And I was like, he was 2 weeks late. And I remember going to the doctor's appointments with my mom, you know, those checkups. And she was like, please induce me. I can't handle this anymore. Because I was 3 weeks late and he was 2 weeks late. And I remember at the appointment, the doctor being like, you know, I thought you'd go another week. And my mom was like, please no, please no. I remember it very vividly. And they were like, okay, we'll induce you tomorrow. And I was like, tomorrow? But my birthday is like in 2 days. And she looked at me. She was like, it's okay. I probably will have him tomorrow. Don't worry about it. And she had him like at like 8 or 9 o'clock. Like it was really, he got
Ooh.
really close to being my birthday, which felt like another form of trauma.
That would have been very uncalled for.
Uncalled for, right? Like
Yeah.
how bizarre. And then I remember they put him in my arms and I like immediately was like, okay, I love him. This is great. This is the best birthday present I could have ever gotten. You know, very dramatic 8-year-old.
It does seem like every reaction is deeply dramatic.
So like uncomfortable, like old soul. I was like a weird old lady as a child. So that also carried on to the way that I parented him as a sibling. And then did the
Were
same
you
thing with my
like picking
sister.
them up? Were you picking up your siblings all the time and carrying them around?
Yeah. So Jack, Lucy's 6 months old right now, and Jack is like, Mom, I can pick her up. Watch. I had to do a self-tape 2 nights ago.
Uh-huh.
And
Self-tape for those not in the business. Annaleigh was auditioning and they asked herself to put herself on tape.
which, when you say it like that, isn't it insane?
Oh,
Yeah.
totally insane.
I'm going to just put myself on camera, which, you know, like 15 years ago and even 10 years ago was a lot harder. And now we all just have a camera in our pocket. You know,
Yeah.
you can make a movie from your pocket. So anyways, I had to put myself on tape and my husband had to read the lines with me. And it was like too late in the day. And we were like, okay, Jack, you have to watch Lucy in the other room. And if something happens, just scream and we'll run out. And everything was kind of going okay. And then I pop out to check on Jack. I go, how's it going, buddy? Oh, it's great. Guys, guess what? I can hold her. And he starts to lift her up and we go, no! Like right by the coffee table, the hard edges. There's
Yeah.
a glass nearby. But there's a million pictures of me at his age I have my brother like on my hip, like a little woman, just
Yeah.
carrying around. I was like, and then my sister shared a room with me. And when I remember like she was about 4 months old when she started, you know, sleeping in my room. And if she woke up in the middle of the night, I would just like pick her up and take care of her. And like in the morning, I would get her up and put her in bed with me and she'd hang out. It kind of like makes sense why I babysat so young, why I knew I didn't know everything, but it was really second nature to me having kids because I was a weird little mama to my brother and sister.
My wife has spent a lot of time with her cousin's kids when she was young and they were babies. And it is amazing I also think she has a maternal instinct. But
Yeah.
Josh and I spent no time with babies the entirety of our lives.
Yeah, which makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So when you had yours, were you like, what do I do? These are aliens.
100%. And just that thing of, they're too small. It's just too small. We should go back to the hospital when it's a little bit bigger. This is too small and it's not going to be safe. It's going to fall down the drain or in a crack.
Down
It's
the
too small.
drain. You are concerned about them falling down the drain. You're like,
Yeah.
it could happen.
It's going to fall
Yeah.
behind the couch and we're not going to be able to get it out.
My wife will like see a very fresh new baby and like pick it up and start flying it around. And I'm like, I can't, like, my heart is in my throat. And she's just got it.
I mean, I still feel that way about the really fresh ones. When people are like, this is kind of a crazy story, but when Jack was like probably 6 or 7 months old, we had just finished doing Sunday in the Park with George, and we were, for some reason, hanging out with Jake Gyllenhaal on Mother's Day. And I remember he was like, we have a massage therapist. Welcome. You can go and get a massage. And you could see Joe just like crumbling, like, because he had forgotten to do anything.
Yeah.
So I went, had a massage, and I came back in the room, and Jake was seasoning salmon, holding our child with like one hand. Like, I still don't know how he did it. He did that thing where you like balance a baby in your hand.
Yeah.
And you could see Joe just like looking horrified. It's like, this man just gave my wife a massage, and now he's seasoning salmon, making it beautifully, and holding my baby like a bowling ball.
I'm going to, just to empathize with Joe. True story. One time, Jake Gyllenhaal came over to our home with a fish in a bucket that he had caught himself. that he then deboned in front of me. Deboning is also a good way of saying emasculated.
Yes.
He was literally doing both at the same time.
You're like, how would you learn these things? How are you adulting
yeah.
in this way? What? Oh, that's amazing. I think that wins. That beats Joe's story.
I don't know. I think my wife would claim that she didn't get a massage. So, and her house smelled like freshly caught fish. That was the point I kept making after he left. I'm like, it was super cool, but it did smell like fish.
That is a very unique flavor and smell that I actually resonate deeply with, because I grew up in Colorado. So I know what the fresh smell of freshly caught fish smell.
Yeah.
And also, just say that, freshly smell of freshly caught fish.
I don't want to say
Yeah. That's your
delicious.
memoir, isn't it?
Yeah.
Freshly smell of freshly caught fish.
Now I'm like, what was it? Was it trout? What was that?
Yeah.
What'd you have?
I don't know. I mean, I think probably looking back, he probably just got it at the store and then put it in a bucket. I mean, they're actors. You're all actors.
Yeah,
Can't
we
be
don't know how to
trusted.
fish. We can't be trusted. No.
So I will say more often than not, you hear like, oh, my, first two siblings are close, and then there's a long gap between the last one. And so the youngest is always like, I was the mistake.
Yes.
Feels like this is the case where the first one maybe was the mistake.
Good. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. How'd you know? My mom and I went to high school together. And by that, her friend Sharon, when she introduces me to people, she's like, this is my friend Holly's daughter. We went to high school together because she had her when she was 18. We had senior year together.
Wow.
Yes, my mom got pregnant with me her senior year of high school. And it was one of those I didn't know I was pregnant episodes on TLC. Like, she really just didn't know she was pregnant.
Wow.
So that's fun. And also, it was great for me because I had all these really fun sleepovers as a little girl.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would watch inappropriate shows. Like, I remember we watched the first 2 seasons of The Real World, and I was, in first grade or something. I don't know. I was really little, but I really knew what was happening with, what was his name? Puck. Was his name Puck?
Yeah, Puck.
Yeah. And Paco, right? What was his name?
Those two sound familiar.
Yeah.
Puck for sure. I
Anyways.
can't go much
Puck.
deeper than that.
So yeah, also which explains my love for New York. There was never a time that I don't remember wanting to move to New York and live in New York. I feel like.
And do you think that The Real World was a big part of that?
I think The Real World, and then also Sarah Live. Like that, I remember like watching like at a very inappropriate age. Also, because I was like the only child for a long time. Well, my cousins were born right after me, 2 of them. And then there was another crop of cousins that came like 7 years later. But we lived with my grandma and grandpa until I was like 6. And my grandpa would like wake me up and have me watch Johnny Carson with him when I was, really little. So it explains sort of like my weird sense of humor. I don't know.
I will. There's two different paths as cool grandpa. I think there's the more conventional one, which is I let my granddaughter stay up with me to watch Carson. Waking someone up to watch Carson is a whole different.
I know. Isn't that
Did you
wild?
ask to be woken for it, or did he just take it upon himself to be like, she's going to like this?
I think it was a combo platter.
Yeah.
And also, like, I was like I don't know, I was already a night owl. Are you guys night owls?
I was a night owl. It's
We
over.
were night owls back in the day.
Yeah, it's like inherent. I don't know.
It is funny because I got one of my boys is a night owl, and one of them's an early bird, and you just
Really?
completely raise this. And the greatest outcome, it would make our life so much worse, is they both can sleep through the other's thing.
Oh,
So
God.
when the 7-year-old's asleep, the 9-year-old literally walks in, turns on all the lights to find a book, like gets into bed, reads for like an hour with all the lights on, doesn't rouse them at all, and then when the 7-year-old wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning to do Legos, turns on all the lights, and the other one sleeps. It's nuts.
That's a miracle. Congratulations.
And you get 4 hours in the middle where you can sleep.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
So
the
rad.
best part. Don't you love when you fall asleep and your kids aren't? And you go, what'd you just do?
I know.
When they're little, too, when when they're little and you can like put them on your face and go, okay, they're not going to move around that much,
Yeah.
and I'll put on a show, and you can just sleep.
Yes.
They're not that
like you
mobile
just
yet?
you place them somewhere where you will notice if they have moved.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great. We're edging into that era with the 6-month-old. We're getting close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great times.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Support for family trips comes from Airbnb. Hey, Pashi.
Yes, Sufi.
We're taking this Amsterdam trip, and I'm heading over there with Ash. And one of the things that's so exciting for me is showing my son this town, this city I used to live in. And it's really cool because you're going to be there. A lot of the people we used to work with over in Amsterdam are going to be there. And it's so fun that he's going to see it through my eyes,
Yeah, I'm excited too.
But when I lived there, I wasn't living in a hotel, obviously. We fully lived there. So it's been so cool looking at Airbnbs that he and I could stay at because I want the full Amsterdam experience as a guy who lived there. And it's so cool that, people who are living there now are, making their homes these incredible things for travelers like myself, for my son, to come and have an extra special trip.
Yeah, and maybe you have an incredible home that you've created and you'd like to let other people stay in your house, maybe make a little extra money, share what you've created to make people's vacations and people's travels all that much more special.
Your home could be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
Support comes from Visit Baltimore. Baltimore, a rising star in the U.S., is often overlooked, but it definitely belongs on your vacation radar. Forget the usual big cities where you end up lost in a crowd. Instead, experience the charm of Baltimore. Known as Charm City, Baltimore seamlessly combines sports, history, art, food, and culture into a one-of-a-kind experience. Now let's dive deep into some of the historic sites around Baltimore. Fort McHenry is a must-see destination in Baltimore. During the War of 1812, it played a crucial role in defending the city from the British Navy, and its victory inspired Francis Scott Key to write the U.S. national anthem. Located in the historic Locust Point neighborhood, Fort McHenry is set within a scenic 42-acre park, making it a perfect spot to explore and appreciate. Visitors can even participate in a unique experience by raising and lowering the flag. Don't miss a chance to visit this iconic landmark and immerse yourself in its rich history. Calling on all bookworms, step into the world of Edgar Allan Poe, the master of macabre and gothic tales, by visiting the Poe House and Museum in Baltimore. This historic home is where Poe lived during some of his most influential years, offering a glimpse into the life and mind of the writer who gave us classics like The Telltale Heart, Ba-Bum, Ba-Bum, and The Raven, Nevermore. As you explore the museum, you'll learn about his struggles, triumphs, and lasting impact on the literary world. You should think about going, checking it out. It looks like a good time. In the meantime, you can start planning your adventure at baltimore.org. Baltimore is closer than you think, just a quick drive or train ride from New York, Philly, and D.C. Plan your visit today at baltimore.org. That's baltimore.org. Go to baltimore.org. Baltimore's slogan is, "You won't get it till you get here." Go to baltimore.org to plan your vacation or getaway today.
Here we go.
So growing up in Denver, there's a lot of outdoorsy stuff. I know you got into performing arts very early. Did you have any interest in sort of the nature of Colorado, or were you pretty much I just want to get to New York City?
I had no interest in nature. I mean, that's not, I would say we've had a cabin growing up, so we would go every weekend in the summertime to the cabin. And if you take me to the mountains, I know how to survive. If you dropped me off at the ocean, I don't know what I'm doing. I still sort of don't know what to do when I go to the beach. I'm very uncomfortable. I prefer to see through the water if I have to be at the ocean. I like the ocean, but I still it feels foreign to me. If I was on Naked and Afraid, do you guys ever watch Naked and Afraid?
I'm
watch familiar
it,
with it, but yeah.
Oh, I encourage you to take a dip into Naked and Afraid. There's an episode where this woman catches a fish between her legs. Not to bring it back to fish, freshly caught fish. But that was an episode where I was like, I could do that. I mean, she also is naked, so that felt uncomfortable. Just fish between your legs and you caught it. What happened there? There's so many things to talk about. But I do feel like I can go to a river and know how to navigate it, know when it's okay to walk through it, know when it's not. I know how to look for ticks. I know how to take a hike and get us back to the cabin. I know when to go. We have gone too far. I know what to do if a moose walks down the road.
Which is?
What do? I'm going to say you get behind a tree?
Yeah. If that's uncomfortable, don't go by it. Don't offer it anything. Get away. They're scary. Moose are not, deer will be scared of you. So they'll go away, But yeah, one time we had a moose somebody had a salt lick, which is very against the rules.
Yeah.
In our neighborhood of cabins. And there was a moose that was just hanging out and would come. And then I was like, where's Papa? We could not find my grandpa. My grandpa was sitting on the back porch eating a plate of spaghetti with the moose just sitting there with its leg over its antlers. Is that a crazy? That's a crazy old man. That same grandpa. That's an old man of, I've lived in Colorado my whole life, so I can sit and watch this moose hang out and eat grass. No, that was not a good choice. You never know what they'll do. They're still wild animals. Anyways, but I don't ski. I don't know how to. That ship has sailed. My knees and my hips will say no, thank you. But I definitely think it was a beautiful place to grow up. But I'm a person who prefers the city.
So was the cabin your grandparents' cabin?
Yes.
Okay.
Both sides of the family, the grandparents had a cabin, which is kind of common for families of Colorado who've been there for many years.
How far was it from your home to get to the cabin?
My dad's side of the cabin was an hour away, and then my mom's side of the cabin was 2 hours with good traffic, 2.5, 3 if it was bad traffic.
So did you prefer the closer one just because it was closer?
I liked the one that was farther because it was really close to this little town called Grand Lake. Mm-hmm. And it's this amazing, it's on a lake that is grand. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
But it's this really cute, cool little old mountain town. And it had a bowling alley and 2 different putt courses. One was expensive, one was cheap. And I never got to go to the expensive one. And the one that was cheap, it had a lot of graveyard references.
Yeah.
It's still there.
It was a windmill, but only 1 mill.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
I guess what would you call that? 1 blade. Yeah.
1 blade. Yeah, 1 blade.
It's very easy to putt through.
Yes, it was easier. Also, that same grandpa would be like, I like that one better. because I think he knew the course, but he liked to beat us, which you're not supposed to beat your kids and grandkids.
It was his home course.
It was it was his home putt-putt course. Yeah, it was
And
great.
would you go to these cabins sort of pre-siblings? Did you go when you were very little, or?
Yes, it was more like a me and my cousins moment. But totally pre-siblings. We had a dirt mound. This is crazy. That cabin, they bought like a one-room cabin, and then they were like always trying to add on to it. I mean, my entire life, for like 35 years, there was like always an addition happening.
Mm-hmm.
And they got these, for some reason, the people who built it originally, they built it with like, when ammunition was stored in like metal boxes. Do you even know what I'm talking about? Is that a real thing?
Yep.
I'm not making this up.
No.
Yeah.
That was what it was built out of, which cannot be up to code.
The
And
cabin
also-
was built out of old boxes?
Isn't that bizarre? Like, what am I saying? And it had like wood put over it. It was always like, what's happening here? This cabin, and then I guess when I was little, I don't remember it. My dad was like, Annie keeps waking us up and telling us that there's like squirrels or mice by her bed. And nobody would listen to me. Like nobody was listening to me. There was indeed an entire mouse family, maybe rats. I don't know what it was, by my head where I was sleeping. Isn't that disgusting? And I blame it on the ammunition casings.
Yeah.
It was
But when you like build, I mean, basically you built your house full of perfect little mouse houses.
Yeah.
Right?
Every brick was a mouse cabin.
And they all spoke in a British accent and were living they had apartments. And they were like, let's go sleep by that girl's head. Her hair is beautiful, glossy blonde.
Oh, you got an infestation of British mice?
Yes, they were so happy to be there. And then we also had bats sometimes. Like, what is this?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we might as well just have stayed in tents. Did you guys have bats growing up?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like bats. But then when they get inside, it's no good.
A fun game.
But,
Did
yeah.
you guys have cabins? Did you have
No.
that?
No, we had, we grew up in New Hampshire, so we definitely
Yeah.
have friends with lake houses that were, you would
Oh, yeah, you had
cabin.
lake houses. That's like a
Yeah.
different
a lot
thing.
of squirrels. I feel like I've lived places where squirrels are in the wall. We had a flying squirrel in our house once.
I forgot that's a thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
What did they do? But it's more like they like jump and then have parachute wings, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're kind of a bummer when they're inside because there's not a lot of room to do their thing.
But we had mice. We definitely had mice a lot. Like you could hear mice running around in the attic on the regular in our
Yeah.
house.
Which is sort of like, that's also just a common theme in a Broadway theater. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of like doing a Broadway show is like kind of like staying at the cabin. It's just like lots of rodents that you pretend.
I was
aren't
gonna
there.
say those. If it's Broadway, those ain't mice. Those ain't British mice.
They're not. I'm just going to continue to believe that they are.
Those are bridge and tunnel rats.
Those are.
Yeah. New York isn't known for its mice.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We
There's
did
that one country mouse came here that one time. And
And
it
he
was
was
a
like,
disaster.
Where am I? Get me back home. I can't take it here. I guess I wasn't a city mouse after all.
What? How many different Broadway theaters have you done shows in now?
Like 9 maybe? Is that right? No, well, I've had a repeat. So like I guess 8.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No,
and they're
only
all
8.
equally disgusting.
But what about no, I don't want you to pick favorites, but where was Sunday in the Park? Was that
The Hudson, which is maybe the most disgusting, guys.
Really? Because it
Mm.
feels, as an audience member, it feels like newish.
The most beautiful up front. So what happened was they redid the front and
Uh-huh.
then the backstage is just, they're all really dysfunctional, but the backstage of the Hudson shares with the hotel that it is in.
Yeah.
So you'll go to the bathroom downstairs and then you're also sharing a bathroom with folks who are getting ready for their shift in the hotel, which is totally cool, but like completely bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Also,
This
it's
is
just
like-
very funny that if you're in a stupid costume.
Yeah, like think about it, you're in your 1800s,
Yeah.
French era costume with like a bustle and a bonnet, and then somebody is like in their uniform getting ready to work at the front desk. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
I would imagine once the bustle's on, it's a drag if you have to go to the bathroom.
It's so hard to pee. It's, a whole thing. Those are the moments when you're like, could you imagine being a woman in another era? Could you imagine?
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine
I always do.
Right?
Mostly that's what I'm doing.
That's what you think about a lot. You're like, what would I do if I was a woman in the 1850s in a wagon, like on the Oregon Trail, and I had to pee? What would I do?
Yeah. Who do you like? How long do you hold it before you say something?
Yeah. And do you just like not wear your bloomers all the time in the summer and nobody knows? Like, do you free ball it in the summertime? Like, what happens with your undergarments? Because those outfits were hot.
Is there an equivalent to like peeing in a bottle when you're driving? Is there like, was there a jar or some sort of
or
jug?
A bucket?
I would say, can I just say how I would do it if I had a pioneer wife? I think you cut a little hole in the bottom of the wagon. So like you don't have to stop the whole wagon train, right? You just and for dudes too, you just kind of squat and then you're just peeing on the road as you like.
You are an inventor. They would have called it the Meyers hole.
I know. It's a bummer thing. I think it would be a tough thing to patent.
Do you got a Meyers hole in your wagon? That's the best invention I ever heard yet. A Meyers hole's better than the railroad.
And then but there would be slang for the wagon behind the wagon with the Meyers hole. Anytime it smelled like urine, you'd be like, I feel like we're riding behind the Meyers hole.
Those damn Meyers hole. I want to be behind them.
So when you had your younger siblings and you would drive to one of those cabins of yours, do you remember? I would imagine that is when the age difference is taxing, when you have that much younger siblings in a car.
Yes. So when I got my driver's license, my sister she's 10 years younger. So how old was she? Was 6.
6. You were 16,
my brother was 8. I'm so good at math. Can you tell? And my brother was 8. And I had to take my brother, I don't know, I had to do something. And it was the day I got my license. And we got in the car and I'm about to back out, and it's a big deal. So I turn around to back out and I looked, he put his football helmet on to get in the car with me. I swear to God, I did not making that up. And I wish he was like before we had picture or cameras on our phone. I didn't even have a cell phone. And I remember being like, why do you have your helmet on? He was like, because you're driving. That's literally... He was that, and he was a crazy driver when he started driving. So that was always a big joke. I was like, should I go get a helmet on before I ride with Nick? I still feel that way.
Just keep a helmet in the back
seat. Very good joke for a young kid to make, to put on a football helmet.
It was great if it was a joke, but it was real.
Oh yeah,
he was really, that is just really authentic. But then I had to drive them around, which was sort of a thing. And then when you drive to the mountains, the one cabin that's an hour away has like a private road that you have to get to. And that's kind of an uncomfortable dirt road drive, but it's not scary. The other cabin that's 2 hours away, you have to drive through Berthoud Pass, which is a really famous like mountain pass you have to go over. And there's parts of it where there's no guardrails, which is crazy to me. Like all these years, you're on like a cliff basically. And it still scares me driving up.
I can't stand. One of the least happy hours of my life was when we were in Positano.
Oh yeah,
and Dad.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just going to say in Italy.
Yeah. My dad driving up that windy road, I just hated it so much.
And you're like praying during it. I pray sometimes during drives like that.
I just remember, I always like. There's this added element, I've talked about this before, of knowing that if Dad went off the side, like the last thing I'd hear would be my mom just fucking laying into him. Like before impact.
Wouldn't be. I love you. We love you guys so much.
Oh, no.
No.
It would be them adjudicating whose fault it had been.
To go on that road. But there's only that road, right? I haven't done that.
Yeah, there's no sneaky way to the top.
Also, would you rather you drive it or would you rather be in somebody else? Like, I think that drive, I would rather have a local do it.
Yeah. But then the
Right?
locals.
They're
I mean,
crazy
true.
fast.
You would rather have a local. I agree. But then they're all of a sudden like passing.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah,
'cause-
and they're like, we know it. You
It's
know.
fine.
You're like, is it?
It's so good. So I guess my answer would be I would prefer not to do it.
Not to do it.
Just stay at the bottom.
You're
you'd
like,
go
no,
to the
thank you.
close cabin. You wouldn't
Yeah.
even go to the
You'd be like, I'm
Emily's
out.
faraway
I'm
cabin.
going to stay at the Coors
I
Brewery.
would imagine there's plenty to do in Denver on the weekend.
Totally. My mom is legally blind without her contacts in. She's had 2 cornea transplants.
Okay.
So when she drives it, she's fine. She's always like, I'm fine when I have my contacts in driving. Leave me alone, everybody. But she does do the thing where like she'll be talking to you, and when you get into the part of you're not on the highway, you're actually not on the road, and it's like, boo.
Yeah.
You know?
the rumble strip.
She'll get on the rumble strip for kind of a long time, to the point where like, Mom,
Is she also legally deaf? Did she have her old corneas transplanted to her ears?
Also, that rumble strip could knock both of those contacts right out of her
they're
eyeballs.
shaking.
And then where are you?
They did before she got her transplant. They would pop off of her eyeballs. I swear to God, her contacts would pop off her eyeballs, and you'd have to like. This was the 90s, and so we'd be like, "Do you have your flashlight in your purse, Mom?" "Oh, let me look." She'd pull out a flashlight, and then I, at 7, 8, 9 years old, would have to find her contacts in the carpet, in the gravel, in the parking lot. Can you believe that?
That's so fun. Also, the preface of this was the 90s. Like, this is a thing that everybody's 90s was like. You got to remember, this is the 90s. Everybody had flashlights looking for their mom's contacts.
It's crazy.
You would be such a funny guest on that, like, Remember the 90s show. You're like, you guys remember how everybody had flashlights?
Remember, everybody's cabins were built out of ammo casings
British mice. British mice always yapping in your ears.
in your hair.
What about, so you had this love of New York, right? So I imagine, did you ever go on a vacation, or was that off the books?
Oh, you guys, you probably went a bunch as kids. Did you go a lot as kids?
Enough.
We went here and there.
Yeah, not all the time, but.
I didn't go until we went on our trip to look at colleges, which was basically like we looked at all of them. And I remember we went to Juilliard, and the guy giving the tour was really, he was really sophisticated, and he was probably like a 24-year-old, I don't know, violin major. And he talked like this, and he went, "This is the Paul Hall." There was at the time a Paul Hall. And me and my mom and my grandpa, the same grandpa, we laughed so hard that we were like rude. And other people were looking at us like we were being shameful. But he said it like 6 times. "The Paul Hall was donated graciously by the Pauls, who really wanted a hall where we could have our music students enjoy their music at the Paul Hall." He kept saying it over and over again. So it's still a joke between us, the Paul Hall.
Yeah.
Anyways, we realized that I couldn't like afford to go anywhere else except for the school that I got into, which was the only school that I got into, which was Marymount Manhattan College. But it still was in New York. But that was the first time I ever came, and I was like 15.
Wow.
And I remember being like, remember back then too, there were delis where there were pickles in the middle of the table? Like there was just a jar of pickles or a bowl of pickles. So unsanitary. It was before you got rated. I bet you we can't do that anymore because it's against like the ratings on the.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Get a
if
D.
you get a P on the window, that means they leave the pickles out.
I wish there was a deli with the pickles out. That's like, it was a yummy treat.
It seems like the vinegar would sort of
Make everything
counteract
okay.
any badness that it's going to be in there.
If you're going to leave
That's what
anything
it's all
out,
about.
leave the pickles out.
Totally.
But that's young. Did you finish like high school early if you were looking at Juilliard when you were 15?
If my husband was here, he would come in and make fun of me for like, he would do like his 5-minute Lotsie about what I'm about to say. I graduated high school early and I graduated college early. So I graduated from college when I was 19.
Wow.
Now, what is, because again, I don't want to like stereotype the fact that it did take you longer than it should have to figure out that 6 was 16 minus 10. So I would like to dig in how exactly you Doogie Howsered your way through high school and college.
Online courses. I figured out that there were online courses I could take before anybody knew that was a thing. And also because I grew up in Colorado, we were really close to Utah where all the Mormon people live. So I asked some of the Mormon people, like, what do you do when you are on your missions and you're in college? Like, they were like, oh, BYU has this incredible online program that I looked up, realized you could take high school courses. And I just slyly convinced the guidance counselors both in high school and college to sign off on these BYU courses that I just basically skipped a year with.
And now, what was your impetus for this? Did you was your drive to get past school so intense because you knew what you wanted to do next?
I was like, I've got to be in New York City because I really thought New York was going to be like the turning point and fame and all that jazz. Like I thought it was going to be dirty and grimy and people would be walking around the streets in leotards going like this, making jazz hands.
Jazz hands. There were sort of like some Fosse hands for those listening.
Yeah. It was not that, but it was still dirty and disgusting in other ways that I truly appreciated. And also, it had all of the resources of the things that I wanted to be as an artist. There's like no other place that you'd rather be. Also, sometimes, New York is a tricky bitch. We love her and we hate her at the same time. Like she's so exhausting.
Yeah.
And she's really, makes it hard to live here, but it's also the greatest city in the world,
Certainly how I feel. And I think all the negative stuff is true as well. But you finished college at 19?
Yeah.
And then, but pretty soon after you're on Broadway, right? A couple of years?
I did right out of college. When I was in college, I used to go to EPAs and chorus calls, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically, when you see people auditioning for Broadway shows, like, Bette Midler and Beaches, there's like a big long line, or the opening credits to All That Jazz is like a big crazy audition. Those are like real. And I used to stand in lines with like 800 people just waiting to sing 8 bars. And I did it all through college and I never got a callback. I got like one callback for Hairspray out of those whole 3 years. And then when I graduated from college, I somehow got like my first audition where I got to do material from the show and not just like songs from my book, as they call it, which is like a book of music that you show up with, which my book was terrible and I didn't know. It's like I picked the worst songs you could ever pick and had no idea. And then I finally got a job. I got Next to Normal, but before it was called Next to Normal, it was called Feeling Electric. And I did it in the New York Musical Theater Festival. And then from that, I got the touring company of Wicked, and I was the Glinda understudy when I was like 20.
Wow.
It was my first big gig.
Did your
Huge
parents make a trip to come see you in your first show?
They came to that like basically tiny week-long production of Next to Normal we did. And then I can't remember, they came to see Wicked by the time we got to DC. We played the Kennedy Center.
Oh, wow.
Which was I just was in DC like a couple days ago and I realized I hadn't really been there. I'd been there for Tiny Desk, but I hadn't really worked there for like 20 years. And it's obviously, really different. But holy moly, that city is like, the vibe is so dependent on what's happening politically. Like you just feel it immediately.
Yeah.
Talk about a vibe.
People that live there just say it just completely shifts, just in terms of, who gets jobs and, no other city in America has got to be like that.
When you say Tiny Desk, do you mean the NPR Tiny Desk concert?
Yeah.
What did you do that? Who did you do that with?
We did it for Sweeney Todd, and I hid under the tiny desk for part of it, which I thought was so funny. And I don't really think people thought it was that funny. I was like, I'm under the tiny desk.
I can't wait to watch that. I think that's one of the most novel, cool things going.
It's the coolest. We also showed up with half an orchestra, which I was like, is this still tiny?
Right. The desk, as long as the desk doesn't change size.
No.
Yeah.
And it was dirty under the desk.
Yeah. Well,
Nobody had cleaned.
You're
other than us.
used to that also.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said
Like,
you just
where are
said
the
that's what
mice?
you wanted in New York, so yeah.
Where are the British mice?
The play with James Earl Jones was Can't Take It With You? Was
You
that?
got it.
Okay. So did you see that with me, Josh? Because I feel like that was a mom and dad play.
Can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. This
You
is
had one of
my-
the great. You won a Tony for that, correct?
And it literally says on it, you can't take it with you.
The Tony. That's really funny.
Isn't that amazing?
What? You have, I feel like, one of the great stair entrances in that one.
You know what? Stairs, there's nothing better than stairs.
Because you had some Sweeney Todd stair work. You really.
I'm always hoping people don't remember that I did a stair bit. You know?
Why? So you can do another stair bit?
Yeah, I literally was like, I looked at Tommy Kail and I was like, is it too soon?
Right.
Too soon to do another stair bit?
I don't want to
think
be.
it's
I don't want to get like pigeonholed as the stair girl.
Exactly. But also, I think it's okay.
I think it's fine. I mean, it's literally, I think the first time I ever saw you was making a fantastic stair entrance. So it's like, I will say, if I ever see you on stage, that was my least favorite thing about Sunday in the Park. No stairs.
No stairs. There was one big step and it just felt like inappropriate.
Wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You should, I mean, the intermission, I know you're never in the intermission of one of your shows, but the amount of people waiting for drinks being like, there better be stairs in the next act.
Is there a staircase coming on? Do you know what I will tell you? Have you seen Sunset Boulevard?
I have not, but that's a big stair show.
No staircase, guys.
Get out of here.
No, it's just a blank stage. I was like, well, maybe they'll surprise us with a staircase. And if she fell down it, that would make it a different show, but a show that I would love. And also why nobody will ever have me play Norma Desmond.
I saw Glenn Close in Sunset Boulevard, and I feel like it was all stairs.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. But that's kind of the point of this Sunset is that there is no stairs.
Yeah.
Mm.
No stairs.
Yeah,
But I
bold.
would play that just immediately pratfall down them.
It's a
try
whole
to
different
roll
show.
down.
Different show. Yeah.
Yeah, different show.
Yeah.
Different show.
I'm going to try to get back to some trips if I can. Would you ever?
Sometimes when people fall down the stairs, it's because they trip. Just FYI.
Right. Okay, very good.
I was not as far afield as I feel like you're tonally implying.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Support comes from Blueland. If you're a parent, you get it. There isn't time to research every single product you use in your home, and that's why you need Blueland. They're certified safe and clean by the EPA, and they get the job done without worrying about the impact they'll have on your family, your parents, or on you. Blueland is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet with the same powerful clean you're used to. I live in a Blueland house right now, and the thing that I like most about it is I used to go to the store and I would buy these enormous tubs of cleaning products, and they're mostly water. But with Blueland, you just get little tablets that come in bags that are recyclable, and then you put your tablets into these nice, small, tin, pretty containers. They do everything from clean your laundry or your dishes or become hand soap. Pretty much everything you clean in your house can be cleaned with Blueland. And then underneath the sink is a lot cleaner and nicer, and it's great. I really enjoy it, and they clean things just as well as these other old, like, pods that you would have that are so clearly full of weird chemicals. But that's not the vibe with Blueland. From cleaning sprays to hand soap, toilet bowl cleaner, and laundry tablets, all Blueland products are made with clean ingredients you can feel good about. Blueland products are effective and affordable with refill tablets starting at just $2.25. You can get even more savings by buying refills in bulk or setting up a subscription. Blueland has a special offer for our listeners right now. Get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/trips. You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/trips for 15% off. That's blueland.com/trips to get 15% off.
Support for family trips comes from Square. Hi, Pashi.
Hey, Sufi.
You know I love a food truck.
Oh, yeah.
Love a food truck. Sometimes I'll be at a farmer's market that'll have a food truck, and I'll see, oh my God, they got a breakfast burrito. And I get in line, and I'm so psyched. And sometimes these small businesses, they just have a very slow payment system, and it's not their fault, right? They're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you just feel so bad because there's so many people who want to get what they're selling, and they're just losing so many customers based on the fact that every checkout experience is taking forever. And that is one of the cool things about Square.
Yeah, Square, I mean, you see it everywhere, and when you see it, it sort of gives you peace of mind because you know it's going to be quick and easy to check out and to pay for whatever it is you're buying. And running a business involves a lot of moving parts, and Square helps simplify that. The hardware looks polished and fits right into your space without feeling intrusive, and the software is incredibly straightforward and intuitive. So you don't need any special training, you can just set it up and start taking payments quickly.
With that said, our mom would probably need a little bit of special training.
Yeah, a little bit. But I'm sure
Just her.
That's a video that someone would have to open for her. But after that, she'd be good to go.
Good news, she doesn't have anything to sell, so we're never going to reach that point. Square supports all major credit cards and payment methods, including contactless options like Apple Pay and Google Pay. Checkout is fast and easy for your customers. Square is designed for businesses at every stage, whether you're just getting started or looking to grow. Gives you the tools to do both without making things more complicated for you or your customer than they need to be.
Square keeps up so you don't have to slow down. Get everything you need to run and grow your business without any long-term commitments. And why wait? Right now, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/trips. That's SQUARE.com/GO/trips. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today.
Here we go.
Would you guys ever take, when you weren't sort of leading the charge to be like, we got to go to New York, would you take family vacations to places other than the cabins?
Guys, okay, this may be a surprise because you grew up on the East Coast, but for those of us who grew up in like the Southwest, a common destination was Vegas. Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Because it's really close by. It's like a quick drive. Like I was like, I don't know, 9 hours or 10 hours. One time, I'm bringing up my grandpa a lot.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
FYI.
Papa Norm had this like sort of special power where he would let the gas run out of the tank. Like he would just be like, oh, we got enough to make it to the next stop. And sometimes he didn't. Like, that was the thing that my grandma would be like, Norm, are you kidding me? So we're on our way to Vegas, and a lot of my dance conventions were there. So I would go there for dance conventions and like dance competitions. And I went to the Nationals for the Rainbow Connection dance competition. I was in the singing category, which sort of didn't exist, but I was still in it. It was like very strange.
Sounds like you put it on the map.
Yeah.
Yes, and I would show up and it would always be like me in my weird costume singing a song from Les Mis or Sunset Boulevard, which was inappropriate, or Gypsy, again, inappropriate. And everybody else was like, they were pageant girls because that was a big thing. Jean-Benet Ramsey went to my dance studio. It's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
So anyways, we went for the Rainbow Connection talent competition, and my grandma and grandpa, my mom and dad, my brother was a baby, and we were like probably 15 minutes away from Vegas. And that's like a long stretch of highway before you get in. You can see this, it's like a mirage in the desert. That's like really what it's like. It's wild. Mm-hmm. And my grandpa was like, guys, we're really low. And my family was like, what? My grandma, you could see my grandma go, Norm. And we had to turn off the air conditioner because that would save gas. So we turned off the air conditioner, and then we're all sweating and we're super hot, and we have the windows down, and we're getting closer and closer to Vegas, and it's really hot in Vegas. So it's hot. Yeah. And then he goes, we have to roll up the windows because it's making it, for some reason, I don't know how.
To make it more aerodynamic, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the thing. How is that real? Is that a real thing?
I mean, I can see the thinking, but that if the windows are up, you're smoother. And if the windows are down, then that wind is hitting the inside of the car and slowing you down.
To make a difference, you had to have such little gas.
Literally. Yeah. And then there was like a conversation of like, okay, we're coming up to a hill, so maybe I'll put it in neutral first. It was like insane. And my grandma was so mad. And you could tell my dad was like, are you kidding me? But he couldn't say anything because it's his father-in-law. It was like a thing, But we made it barely. I remember he was like, if we just get to the Golden Nugget. I don't know. There was like a gas station right by that. Also you can't Google back then.
Right.
It was the 90s.
It was the 90s.
Yeah.
No Google.
Yeah,
the only
but we
Google
made
you
it.
had were contact lenses in the shag carpet.
If your contact pops out in any sort of carpet, gravel, I'm there to help you.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you make it to the Nugget? Do you
I
remember?
just need a flashlight. We made it. We made it. We did make it. And we stayed at Circus,
Great.
Yeah.
which is disgusting.
That happens. Yeah. A lot of our guests have stayed at Circus, I will say, on this
Have you?
podcast. Like, no. Never
I
even
do
been.
feel like
Never will.
it was named, it was branded well because it feels like everybody, again, our guests were all kids when they stayed there. But I feel like adults were like, well, that Circus, that'll be good for the kids.
One of the highlights of my life. And it was above Slots of Fun. And Slots of Fun had these giant hot dogs for $1. And you could also get shrimp cocktail like after midnight for $1, like a big thing of it, which nobody got sick.
Yeah.
It's really the highlight of that story.
So you would just, your grandpa Norm would wake you up and be like, let's go get some cheap shrimp and watch Carson.
Sometimes me and him would go, just the two of us, for dance conventions, and he would play poker all day long while I danced, pick me up, we'd go take a nap in the afternoon, and then we would go out at night after everything got cheap. Because at midnight you could go get prime rib. He would too. Sometimes we go to downtown Vegas because it was even cheaper. But yes, I knew I was a prime rib shrimp cocktail aficionado at 12.
That's what you want sort of between days at a dance competition
I just like
as
seeing
well.
you at like 1 a.m. and somebody being like, I saw that girl singing Gypsy this afternoon.
Literally, that's what happened.
Your grandpa Norm has a real, like, I'm picturing him as Grandpa Joe in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Just when you said you were on the tour, I think it was that you were on a tour with him at Juilliard and he was there. Like, I think anytime I think of a grandpa on a tour, like, it's impossible to think of, like, not think of, like, the Wonka tour.
He also, he loves candy, by the way. When my grandma passed away, he would come and visit me and Joe, before we had Jack. And I remember one time he would sleep on the couch and he would like have a big thing of Diet Coke, like a 2-liter thing of Diet Coke. And he didn't know that like we were awake and we could see him. He'd be laying there and just open up a 2-liter of Diet Coke and just take a swig. Not cold, like it was a bottle of water. Who does that? And pink candies. Do you guys like pink candies?
No.
Those like soft sort of,
Yeah, and they
almost
take,
circus
like,
peanut kind of things?
Yeah, they're like Pepto-Bismol candies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Him and my mom love them. With Diet Coke. Uh-oh.
Mhm.
That's esophagus fire.
My father-in-law, who I love very much, is his ability to just like fall asleep. He takes like 10 cat naps a day. Very short ones. And again, he's an incredibly active grandfather. Like the amount he does with my kids. I have no complaints about this man. But every time he falls asleep, he looks like he's dead. And every single time I take a picture and I send it to my wife and my sister-in-law and I just write, sorry for your loss.
Question. Does he need a CPAP machine? Those are the most
he
realistic-
might have a CPAP at night. Now.
Really? Great.
He might. Yeah.
'Cause
Because
that
it is
is-
like,
And you're like, are you breathing well at
Yeah.
night?
Yeah.
Are you having good sleep? Or is
The
this
last
just a
time
part
I
of
saw
our-
him sleeping, he was sitting by his pool in Martha's Vineyard, and he just sort of like knocked off. And he had been up early, and he'd been doing
Yeah.
all this stuff, and like he really is. He's
he's an
kinda-
early bird and a night owl.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Isn't
and
that our
he was
dream?
sitting by his pool sleeping, and one of your kids, Seth, it was either Ash or Axel, just like hit him in the dick,
Yeah.
and like the poor man. I
Yeah.
mean, he's been doing so much like for the kids on this day, and just a quick punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that feels like, but apparently it hurts your tummy.
Everything about it's bad. It
Yeah,
hurts
it's
your
just-
everything.
Yeah.
That's
Hurts your soul.
Little kids though, like Jack will be like, "Oh, I feel it all the way in my tummy." It's like, what's that mean?
Yeah. not wrong.
Our elevator in our apartment building has like brass bars, you know, which I don't even know what they're for, but every day.
Hold
My
on.
7-year-old,
Yeah.
he crawls out, he gets up, so he's like feet on the brass. And I'm always like, you're going to hurt yourself. He's like, I'm fine, I know how to do it. And then the other day he fell down and like I guess landed on his penis somehow. And he's so mad when again, anybody's mad when you laugh at their pain, but again, he's 7, I want to say like, but you can understand why it's funny to me. Like I told you not to do a thing and then you fell and landed on your genitals.
On your genitals. Boom.
Yeah.
Which is also, I feel like when it comes to like dicks, I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. Go tell your dad.
Look, I will tell you this. Like the thing that always, and thank God I'm married to who I'm married to. Having gone through puberty, I still have no sense of what the best way to explain it to somebody who's about to go through it is. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, I feel like I'm like, it's just a wild ride, man. You got to make it your own.
Hold on.
Also, we have like a little baby girl. So that's been interesting to be like, on the way home from school like 2 days ago, Jack was like, so wait a second. Like, I don't understand where you pee out of. He like genuinely was like, why do you sit down to pee? Like, why can't you just stand? And then I was like, bud, I got some news for you. We have 3 holes. And he was blown away and then could not stop laughing. And then I couldn't stop laughing because it is crazy. And then he was like, no, Mom, you have more holes than that. What about these? And he pointed to his nose and his ears, and you were like, you're right.
It's just full.
I was like, I have 7, you only have 6. And then I had to really think about it because even though I did graduate at 19, as you've seen, my math is
you
not
skipped
good.
holes. The BYU program didn't have a holes class.
But that's more of a Mormon-based
That's a
thing.
Mormon thing. They're like, the holes is, that's
No,
between
they don't
you and
have
your
any
God.
holes. They have to hide them with their garments.
Our daughter, because the boys have a bunk bed and she's still in a crib, she the other day goes, I can't wait till I have a penis so I can get my own bed. I was like, you have made a mistake in causal relationships.
That's so sweet. Oh, how precious.
It is always such a delight to see you. Due to your effervescent nature, people will be surprised to know that you're also in a very scary and dark and wonderful show with Dennis Quaid called The Happy Face.
Thank you. Yes, I'm in a crime drama. I'm in
True
a very
crime.
serious true
Some
crime
crime.
drama. Yes.
Before we let you go, though, Josh is going to ask you some questions.
All right.
Speed
Here we
round
go.
that everybody gets.
You can only pick one of these. Is your ideal vacation relaxing, adventurous, or educational?
Can I say all 3? No.
The
Famously
Okay.
started,
beginning of it was you can only pick one.
No, I know. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, if I could say what I really think, it's like I want them to be all of that. But I would say adventure because I can't not explore. I can't relax kind of on a vacation.
All right, great.
Okay. What is your favorite means of transportation?
I like to take a plane to get places.
Great. Okay, great. If you could take a vacation with any family, alive or dead, real or fictional, other than your own family, what family would you like to take a trip
The
with?
Kardashians, because they're rich.
Yeah.
They're so
Excellent.
rich. The travel experience of that, I think you would be really exceptional because they're just so disgustingly rich. And I find them fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Great.
not alone.
If you had to be stranded on a desert island with one member of your family, who would it be?
Papa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are from Denver, that's correct, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Would you recommend Denver as a vacation destination?
Absolutely. Not only has it become super cool as a destination for the younger generation, so that means that it has like great coffee shops and great restaurants and great young people activities, which always make a city cool to be in. But it also has the beauty of the Colorado Rocky Mountains. So you can have a really cool afternoon downtown, and then you can drive up to the mountains and have an incredible outdoor person experience. So you get the best of both worlds. I think it's one of the top 10s.
Yeah. Agree. And then Seth has our final questions.
Have you been to the Grand Canyon?
The Grand Canyon. That's what we call it in my family. Because my brother was 4, my sister was 2. I was stuck in the middle seat.
Yeah.
And we went there for spring break one year, which was sort of a nightmare for me. But yes, we have seen the Grand Canyon and our
Why do you call it that?
Because my little brother would be like, "Are we going to the Grand Canyon?" And we had a pop-up trailer, that you take behind. We had a Bronco and then the pop-up trailer. And I slept on one side and the whole family slept on the other side. And the heater broke in the middle of the night at the Grand Canyon. But I was in my dad's hunting sleeping bag that is for below 0 temperatures. So I was fine and everybody else was cold.
My follow-up question is, do you think the Grand Canyon is worth it?
No.
Great.
Can you believe I said that?
I can, and I love you for it. I can't. You know what? I believe it's true. I just can't believe you had the courage to say it.
I had the balls to say it. I saw it once. I think I'm good.
Yep.
It is a big hole.
You and Seth
did you
are
learn
of the
that at
same
BYU?
mind here.
You learned that at BYU whole class?
I learned that at my BYU whole class.
They only did non-people holes. They had a big class on that. You're the best. It's so nice to see you, Annaleigh.
So good to see you. This was my favorite hour of the week. I'm gonna go in the other room now and feed my baby.
All right,
maybe
great.
from my breast, maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Dealer's choice.
Well, we know what she wants, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Be well.
Have a
Thank
good
you so
one.
much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Family trips with the Meyers brothers.